Coaches. They're the ones who control the bench during games and they're in charge of the players. What separates a good coach from a bad coach? What determines if a coach should stick around or not? There's never a one-size-fits-all reason behind the decision of the GM on the coach, but those are certainly more consistent and commonplace for those that get a coach fired or not extended. Whether it's poor performance, controversy, or just horrible luck, no coach stays coaching the same team forever. There are certain factors such as franchise prosperity that can prolong a coach's tenure and give them more chances to screw up before the GM pulls a plug on them. In this video, we'll be going over how GMs decide to keep around or let a coach walk, or in dire cases, fire them. Every season, there's an over-under projected by predictions as to where teams should finish approximately. An over-under of 91.5 points suggests that they will finish as a bubble playoff team. An over-under of 105.5 suggests that they're going to be a playoff team. An over-under of 72.5 suggests that they have no shot at playoffs and will likely be in the runnings for the #1 draft pick. These values are the regular season point totals that teams are projected to be around. They're calculated with regard to the roster the coach is given to work with, and it's up to them to get the most out of the players. In order to achieve the most out of the players, they must ice the correct skaters, make the optimal line combinations, hold players accountable, and implement the right systems. It is the coach's duty to maintain the team cohesion during games and practice to meet the expectations for the season. If any of these aspects are faulty, such as assembling line combinations that just do not work, the team will not be playing up to their potential. The team's expectations aren't just limited to regular season, but playoffs too. In those moments, mistakes are magnified tenfold, as it's not 82 games, lose 4 games in a series and you're out. A coach can have a great regular season, stink it up in the playoffs, and then get canned. Take someone like Bruce Boudreau's tenures with Washington and Anaheim, where he was amazing in the regular seasons, but when push came to shove in the postseason, he just couldn't deliver. They all strive towards the same goal of winning the Stanley Cup. If a GM has decided that enough is enough with the coach and that he doesn't see him bring a cup to the franchise, the GM will decide to hop ship at the first opportunity. Even worse, if the team falls well short of expectations, the coach may even get fired before the current contract is up. Take Dominic Ducharme after he got extended by Marc Bergevin after making it to the 2021 finals, only to be let go in February after the Canadiens were on track to be historically bad. When the team is headed in the direction of a fire sale, a good bet is a coach being canned. Injuries, for the most part, are at least out of a coach's control, and in the event they pile up, expectations for the season will be accounted for. From an overall standpoint, if the GM feels that the coach is not fulfilling expectations for the season, the coach is on the hot seat. A coach may be delivering behind the bench, but sometimes we ask ourselves, at what cost? In a business, results are of utmost importance. They're getting those results. So you might ask, why are there controversies overshadowing their success? There's this factor of distraction that can sidetrack a team's focus, and it causes them to not play up to their potential. Some examples of distractions derailing a team's season is the Coyotes' possibility of relocation in their last season in Arizona, causing a 14-game losing streak, Miller and Pettersson's alleged falling out causing the Canucks to miss the 2025 playoffs, Senators' staff and ownership drama spiraling their season out of control in 2018. Coaching is certainly a source of drama and distraction too, that can negatively affect a team's morale and ultimately their performance. Some examples of such, where the coach was doing a good job and then a scandal from the past comes back to haunt them, are Joel Quenneville's negligence of the Kyle Beach incident from 2010, Bill Peters' use of racial slurs in 2012, Mike Babcock's psychological warfare he unleashed on Mitch Marner. As soon as those scandals were discovered, those aforementioned coaches were either fired or resigned. GMs don't want the lingering effects of off-ice incidents impacting the on-ice product, and so scandalous coaches were replaced as soon as possible. Let's make an analogy here of a computer's CPU representing the focus of the player, shall we? The amount of tasks loaded onto the CPU for processing represents everything that is taking up the focus of the players. The players are obviously wanting to focus on winning games and building team chemistry. Those are two things right off the bat taking up the CPU. Add some past fiasco discovered from their coach and what the pending decision from management will be, and leaves the compounding effects of multitasking. Comparatively speaking, the CPU will be using double the amount its power and resources, aka the players' focus on winning games and building team chemistry, than the latter. Players perform best when there's nothing in the way mentally, and when the guy behind the bench has negative energy swirling around him, something needs to be done. Going back to NHL franchises being a business, ownership and management want to be doing everything they can for results. Whatever coach you hire may just be meeting expectations, no more nor less. They're doing good enough to keep their job, but that doesn't have that wow factor that's going to carry you. Right before you know it, there's this coach who has a much better resume than the one you currently employ. Seeing you're extra desperate for a change to pump out more results, the current one gets canned or let go in place of the more established coach. Take a look at St. Louis, where they were a bit underwhelming but still manageable start to the 2024-25 season, saw Jim Montgomery was available and packed up Drew Bannister. This is an example of one instance where picking up a much better option immediately paid off. It may be a bit inconvenient and ruthless to make such a drastic change quickly out of nowhere, but it's a worthy jump to take over the gap for the long term. This is why GMs need to be paying attention 24/7 for these kind of opportunities to jump on them before other teams even lift a finger. Plus, you also avoid the risk of the current coach who has done good enough up to now becoming obsolete later on. Some coaches are only meant to be useful for growing but not competing, and their philosophies just aren't optimal past a certain point and becoming a contender. Take, for example, someone like David Quinn, who was let go after the Rangers were ready to be playoff contenders. In the 2021 COVID season, you could see how his coaching was meant for the retooling or rebuilding Rangers, but was only able to progress them so far before Gerard Gallant came in and carried them on where they left off. Although David Quinn's work had them improving every season, his diminishing returns were evident. Could he still have molded that group of players into a playoff team? Maybe, but it was too prone to setbacks. If the coaching market was cold enough at the time though, they probably would have extended David Quinn. All that to say, guys, these are some of the reasons coaches may or may not get extended. It's all for the good of the franchise and the direction they're headed towards. There's both a human side and the business side of things, and there's a healthy balance between both. Sometimes tough decisions have to be made, and that's part of the business. Hope you enjoyed listening, everyone. Have a good one.